Listen, Gargan, it's a new millennium. Lots of high-tech. There may be some way we can get you out of that suit!
You put me in this suit. Now I'm going to make you pay.
Get over it, Gargan!
You ruined my life, so now I'll end yours.
When it comes to Spider-Man's villains, there's always one name that stands out to me as blatant, wasted potential. Macdonald Gargan, the insidious Scorpion. One of Spider-Man's most underutilised enemies. It annoys me so much how he's always treated like a joke when he's got the potential to be one of the scariest villains in all of Marvel. A fight with the Scorpion should be a brutal, life or death struggle. He should not be getting his jaw punched off accidentally. Sorry for showing you Ramos out there, you didn't deserve that. This man has almost all of Peter Parker's superpowers, with none of the desire to use them for good. He's Spider-Man without the scruples. But I'm getting ahead of myself a bit here. Let's check out the origins of the original anti-Spider-Man, and let's find out why you should never step on a scorpion. Our first hint that something sinister is afoot comes in the Amazing Spider-Man, issue 19. Hang on, sorry. Great guest stars like The Enforcers. Great. Okay, sure dude, whatever. In this issue, Spider-Man and the Human Torch team up to take on that filthiest of all supercriminals, William Baker, aka Flint Marko, not Martin, Marko, aka the Sandman. Wouldn't the Human Torch absolutely mince Marko? Just turn him to glass, mate. This isn't relevant, but it's dead funny to me. Two regular policemen catch the Sandman at the end of this issue. These must be the same guys who arrested Thanos. Issue 19 ends with puny Parker getting followed home by this mysterious stranger. Who is this man? Does he know what Peter doesn't want anyone to know? Issue 21, the big one. The title of Scorpion down here, I think it's meant to look spiky, but it looks to me like someone's just covered it in pubes. In this daring issue, the Amazing Spider-Man comes face to face with the menace of the human coat hanger. Ditko, could you not have tried a little bit harder here, mate? He doesn't look good at all. The mystery man following Parker around isn't as smooth as he thinks he is. Young Pete's already clocked him thanks to his spider sense, but what does this stalker want? When the man finally goes home, he gets a taste of his own medicine, courtesy of the Amazing Spider-Man. Let's see how he likes getting oh shit, he's turned around! Run back, Spidey, run back! To sneak back into his window, Peter shoots a bat made of web at this weirdo to distract him. Wild, mate. That was a close one, but what was the point of that? Just to fill a page up. He went to leave and then he didn't leave, and that was the page. While Peter worries about a private enemy, Spider-Man should worry about a very public one. Jonah Jameson is once again seething over Spidey. And the story of a scientist who can induce artificial mutations gives him an idea to be rid of the wall crawler, once and for all. Speaking of, Peter's shadow takes a quick break to report what he knows to his boss, Jonah Jameson. This man, private investigator Macdonald Gargan, tailed Peter for Jonah to find out how the boy always gets such great pictures of Spider-Man. But now JJ's got an even greater plan to go against the wall crawler, and it involves this mercenary sleuth. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Dr. Farley Stillwell, a geneticist who makes a mockery of God's work. He's the scientist who specialises in artificial mutations, like giving a fish working lungs and a mouse working gills. And Jonah has an all-new lab rat for him. His first human test subject, Macdonald Gargan. Because the mission is to defeat Spider-Man, the arachnid's natural enemy of a scorpion is chosen as Mac's inspiration. Gargan undergoes the trials, he drinks the weird formulas, and he gets pumped with filtered radiation Jesus. This man would do anything for a payday. I can relate. A cyborg synthetic tail, super strength, and a can-do attitude. Jonah Jameson has created his own hero, the spectacular Scorpion. Gargan wants to go rough up the webhead right now, but Stillwell and JJ want him to train a little bit first, just to make sure he really can wash the spider out. But still, Scorpion doesn't have to wait very long. A handful of hours later, Jonah gets a little visit from the object of his ire. Spidey wants to learn why JJ had Parker followed, but he's taken by surprise by Jonah's politeness. All a ploy to lull Spidey in, so the Scorpion can sting first, and what a brawl this is. Spidey hits Mac at max power, and he barely feels it. Spider-Man himself says the Scorpion is at least as strong as he is. Gargan is a huge threat. Not even Spidey's steel-like weapon can stand up to the strength of the Scorpion. Look how stupid this reasoning is though, dude. Scorpions have pincers, so Gargan can just snip the web. Just say he's got super strength, mate, we won't laugh. Strength of body, perhaps, but not strength of mind, because Dr. Farley Stillwell's research tells him as the Scorpion grows stronger, he becomes more and more unhinged. Good thing the doc has an antidote. Better get moving though, pal. Because with every strike, Scorpion's strength and mania grows. He's knocked our hero out cold and threw him aside like garbage. Spidey! No! Mac doesn't finish the webhead off yet though. He gets a better idea on how to use his new powers. Supercrime! Starting with an armoured truck on the street below, Gargan goes rogue, and Jonah starts to understand the evil he has unleashed. Luckily, someone did see this coming. Dr. Stillwell arrives to fix his greatest mistake. He's packing the antidote for Gargan's power, but the Scorpion doesn't want to take his medicine. The guilty doctor tries valiantly to defeat the monster of his own making, but no man can keep up with the Scorpion now. Stillwell falls to his death, his cure smashing upon the pavement. Looks like everything's going Gargan's way today. But look out! Here comes the Spider-Man, ready for round 2, even knowing how outmatched Peter is in strength doesn't deter him. What a hero, what a man. As Gargan's blood boils in battle, any remnant of the man he once was burns away in the wake of the Scorpion. The man is dead, all that lives is the animal. Jonah's heart is consumed by regret as the Scorpion terrorizes his city. Do we think he's finally going to learn his lesson about Spider-Man? Or will this only fuel his vendetta evermore? Either way, now Spidey isn't the only arachnid JJ has to fear. Jameson is now the only man alive who knows Scorpion's past. His name? Jonah could sell Mac out to the police or the Avengers. JJ needs shutting up. In the ultimate irony, Spider-Man is all that stands between Jameson and the monster he created to defeat Spider-Man. Our hero throws his life down to save his most public enemy, and Spidey does it without hesitation because he's a true hero. It doesn't matter what Peter thinks of Jameson. All he sees is a man in need of saving. Spidey knows he can't go toe-to-toe with the Scorpion, so he uses his brains rather than brawn. Using his spectacular speed, Spidey dodges Mac's swipes and craftily dismantles the Scorpion's supersuit piece by piece. Tails. Scorpion loses. Spider-Man is triumphant, thanks to his refusal to give up mostly. Twice the Scorpion kicked his ass, but Spidey just kept on coming. Jonah is cut to the core by his hubris, and he can't believe his luck, saved by that which he wanted so desperately to destroy. So mate, the Scorpion's greatest contribution to Spider-Man lore is how he deepens the relationship between Peter and Jonah. He adds a physical threat to JJ's smear campaign and intensifies the dynamic by being a common enemy for both Spider-Man and Jameson. It isn't long before we again see our poison-tipped tyrant. Amazing Spider-Man issue 29. Never step on a Scorpion. I love that title. Guess who's back, mate? He's punched his way out of prison. He's so badass, he just punches his way out of the prison. He's a crafty bastard as well because, while in the joint, he pretended to mentally break down until they gave him back his costume. What? It always annoys me when I see inmates in costume while locked up in their cells. These facilities are supposed to rehabilitate. Don't let them fall further into the mad personas, for Christ's sake. Apparently, the relatively short time Scorpion was locked up, he spent seething at the man who made him what he is today. Jonah Jameson. The police try to warn Jonah of Gargan's vendetta, but admitting to a connection just might reveal JJ's hand in Scorpion's creation. He's got to play it cool, which he does. Badly. He's so lucky Peter Parker's present. JJ knows of only one man who can stand up to the Scorpion, his greatest enemy, Spider-Man. But Jameson believes that the webbed menace would never help him willingly, so he concocts a plan to trick Spidey into helping. Of course, we readers know that Peter's already on the job. No need for even a thank you. He's using himself to bait out Gargan because he knows Mac hates the wall crawler almost as much as he hates Jameson. But the plan backfires. Spider-Man's public display tells Gargan exactly where Peter is, and so he knows that Jameson has no one with him to protect him. Get ready to witness the Scorpion's ultimate technique, dude. It's boss. He coils up his techno-organic tail and uses it as a spring to propel himself up, and away. Hell yes, Scorpion. Get him, dude. Jameson's plan was to taunt Spider-Man into battling Scorpion with a slanderous headline, but now it seems rather pointless. But what is pointed is Peter's keen mind. Mac's taken too long, something is wrong. Could it be that Spider-Man has played himself for a fool, leaving Jonah unguarded? Yes, indeed it could. J. Jonah comes face to face with his worst nightmare. The Scorpion lashes out like an animal, poison in his veins and revenge echoing in his mind. He's got Jonah cornered, and the Scorpion is set to sting. But here comes the Spider-Man, again throwing himself between his two enemies, ready to lay down his life to do what is right. The two arachnids absolutely trash the Bugle officers, and honestly, the tension is high. Spider-Man is barely an annoyance to the Scorpion. He's more focused on killing Jameson, and it feels like Spidey can only delay the inevitable. For the first time in a long time, Spider-Man seems powerless to stop the villain, but he still won't back down. Mate, this left panel here is hilarious. JJ giving Spidey grief, so Spider-Man goes, "Hey, do you think you can do better? I'll lend you my costume." And then Jameson's more concerned over his furniture getting trashed than his saviour getting defeated. These two are great together, mate. The banter unparalleled. The two bugs brawl into a stalemate until the police charge into JJ's office, and Gargan bottles it, deciding no matter what, he can't go back to prison. He scurries away from the gun-wielding officers with Spider-Man in hot pursuit. Jameson is safe. For now. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love J. Jonah Jameson. After all this, the first thing he does is spin the story to make himself look good. Make himself the hero. But under his false bravado, he still worries about the battle between Spider-Man and Scorpion, and he dreads what'll happen if Spider-Man loses. But honestly, he shouldn't really worry because the super scrap goes plummeting into the river. And unlike the nursery rhyme, the water doesn't wash the spider out, but it does soak the Scorpion's chances. Waterlogged Gargan can't keep up with Spidey's natural agility, nor can he hold his breath as long as Peter can. This is the second Spidey baddie we've seen go down to a lack of oxygen. The Rhino did as well, didn't he? A cheeky web net, and Spidey makes the deadliest catch of the day. Lucky for Jameson. Next, let's wind our own tails up tight and spring forwards a fair bit into the Amazing Spider-Man, issues 145 and 146, for a little bit more Mac. The Scorpion stings but once, even though he's already stung twice this video. I hate when covers lie. Our friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man has finally been driven up the wall. His recently murdered girlfriend Gwen Stacy is somehow stood right in front of him. But who the hell cares? Where is the Scorpion? There he is! What the hell? Mac Gargan has served his time. He smashed up and robbed an armoured car, and then he broke out of prison. What's that get you in New York? Google says you get no less than 5 years for armed robbery alone. Yet Gargan's been in for months and he's already out, even for a model prisoner. That's bull. NewYorkLawyers.org. Did Foggy Nelson write this? My suspension of disbelief must be absolutely warped if I can believe a man with scorpion powers more than a commuted sentence, and it looks like Gargan's brief time in the big house hasn't rehabilitated him very much. Our toxic-tailed tyrant is right back to a life of crime. Our pulse-pounding Marvel action is brought to a standstill thanks to Aunt May. She wanted any and all sympathy that a nephew might get from his dead girlfriend coming back to life, so she's faked another heart attack, and now everyone's focus is back on her. Are you happy, May? Are you happy? Because while Peter is preoccupied, the Scorpion strikes the banks. God damn you, Aunt May. Gargan does give himself a cool little title here though. The Scorpion, the guy with the stainless steel sting. Hell yeah. Jonah's not in this one. I assume he went into hiding when he heard Mac was getting released, so it's down to the Spider-Man alone to chase Mac's tail. Does the webbed menace stand any chance without JJ's vital mentorship? Let's find out as our spider sense tingles. Scorpion has spent all his time on the inside, dreaming of squishing Spider-Man, and now he's gonna shove this tail right up Spidey's ass for putting them away. Oh, I see. Max says here he spent 2 years in jail, and apparently it was Captain America who put him there last time. More on that to come. Peter fights Gargan at a cement processing plant, even drowning the villain in the liquid pavement. But that doesn't stop the Scorpion. Dude, this technique took down the friggin' Juggernaut, but it barely slows down Mac Gargan. Go, Gargan, go! Even up against the wall, getting his ass handed to him, Spidey still has time to take the piss. Legend. Well, you've laughed your last, Spider-Man. Scorpion slams him into a cement mixing vat and activates the machinery. Spider-Man surely drowns in the dark, wet cement. And now, the Scorpion is top of the food chain. Unless. Issue 146, and Aunt May, come on mate, putting yourself in the grasp of the Scorpion just so people will worry about you. Faking illness is one thing, but this is getting out of hand. My least favourite Spider-Man villain, the Jackal, is behind the return of Gwen Stacy. But who the hell cares? Where is the Scorpion? There he is, let's see if I can pronounce this right. A country home in Monticello, New York. Mac infiltrates this estate like a man on a mission, slaughtering the guards and smashing into the life of mob boss Don Santonio. Don't pretend you've never heard of him. Don Santonio, let's just say he's no Wilson Fisk. He's been losing at the crime game for a while now. He's had his shot at the big time, and now Gargan wants his piece of the pie. But Scorpion's claims of being the guy who killed Spider-Man fall flat when he sees Spidey on the telly. Ah well, Gargan snarls. He'll just have to kill him again. Murdering that cobwebbed clown will make Gargan's rep forever. The only problem with this plan is he's got to actually kill Spider-Man. Luckily, the scantily clad Jackal offers Mac a bit of a hand. This bit's kinda dumb though. Spider-Man tracks down Gargan's apartment and finds all the stolen cash. Peter now has evidence that Mac is behind the robberies. The robberies that were performed by a man in a scorpion suit with scorpion powers. How stupid are the NYPD that they didn't already suspect it was Macdonald Gargan, recently released. After grassing Mac up to the police, Peter's got some time to blow sitting with Aunt May in the hospital. She spends so much time here they should just name a ward after her. But, what was that sound? Oh dear God, it's the Scorpion. Jackal hasn't told Mac Spidey's true name, but he might as well have because he sent Scorpion straight to May's hospital room. And with no wall crawler in sight, Gargan's gonna have to draw Spidey out with some screams. Aunt May faints, nothing new there. And Gargan doesn't recognise Peter, that's a bit weird. He spent a week following him once, didn't he? Anyway, Scorpion is going to tear this hospital to shreds unless Spider-Man shows up. Careful what you wish for, Mac, because Spider-Man is here and he is pissed. This time, Spider-Man absolutely slaughters the Scorpion, fueled by raw rage at what Mac just done to Aunt May. Gargan starts to realise how great a mistake he has made. He is terrified. There is no escape for the Scorpion. He's at Spider-Man's mercy, and after all that crap with May, Spidey is all out of mercy. Nah, Mac is a lucky bugger, because even after all he's done, Spider-Man lets him live on one condition. The Scorpion apologises to Aunt May, and she gives him shit for it as well. Mac has gone from slapping around Spider-Man to getting chewed out by the main character from Trouble. How the mighty have fallen. But Gargan does get her back for this in Marvel Knights Spider-Man. A Scorpion issue with no J. Jonah Jameson. That's like Micah Sin with no McDonald's. Gargan didn't even reference JJ in these two. So let's skip forward to where his hatred of the Bugle's esteemed editor has driven him crazier than usual. Spectacular Spider-Man, issue 21. Still crazy after all these years, Mac's mind is all but lost, poisoned by the power of the Scorpion. He's not taken his costume off in weeks, if it even can come off anymore, and he's living in the sewers. I wonder if Dr. Connors charges him rent. And who put Mac here? Marvel's most bodacious billionaire, J. Jonah Jameson. Oh, but he'll pay. It's time Gargan made good on his original plan. It's time J. Jonah Jameson paid the price of the Scorpion. Oh, it looks like Mac hasn't lost all his marbles. He's tried and failed to squash Jameson before, and he's not in any state to battle any costume super dorks that might get in his way. That's why he cunningly returns to the place of his rebirth, the laboratory of Dr. Farley Stillwell, still not cleared out after all these years. Gargan pumps himself with more radiation than ever before, supercharging the Scorpion. But hang on, what was it Dr. Stillwell had discovered before he died? The more powerful Gargan gets, the more insane he becomes. Uh-oh, Spidey fans. Looks like Jolly Jonah's about to be in the obituaries of his own newspaper. Mate, Peter must be getting so sick of fighting Mac. He contemplates letting Scorpion just have Jonah, because to be fair, Jonah was gonna just give him Spider-Man at the start, wasn't he? But who's Peter kidding? He always was a sucker for saving people. But who's gonna save him? Especially now he realises he's not brought any friggin' webbing along with him. Looks like Spidey's gotta win this fight the old-fashioned way. Jonah doesn't know who to cheer for. If Scorpion wins, he's a dead man. But if Spider-Man wins, he'll be so smug about it. The Scorpion's gone well and truly insane now. The additional radiation pumping through his burning blood has turned him into a true monster, and he blames Spider-Man and Jameson for the freak he has become. Look how friggin' cool Spidey is here. He tells the police, back away, after the beating he's just taken. Scorpion is his. And Spidey keeps his promises. The man has enough problems without taking on Max as well. Even after all of Mac's boasts of power, the spectacular Spider-Man succeeds. Gargan believed his new strength made him a monster, but in tearing the Scorpion mask from his face, Spider-Man proves that he's still just a man. A broken, fallible man. At this point, as we can see, Scorpion stories tend to follow a similar pattern. Gargan either wants to kill Jameson, or he wants to kill Spider-Man. He's a bit like a bully who only really wants to hurt people, because at the end of the day, he agreed to the experiments. No one forced him to take Jonah's money. But I would never dare say that to his face. In the eyes of Mac Gargan, Jameson stole his life away. So now, in the Amazing Spider-Man Annual 18, we'll see Scorpion try to steal Jonah's. And I don't mean in like a superior Spider-Man way, but what a story that would be, dude. The superior J. Jonah Jameson. Jonah's getting married in the morning. Ding dong, the bells are gonna chime. Marla Madison of Spider Slayer fame is the lucky woman who gets to be tickled by that mustache forevermore. Not everyone wishes the happy couple well. Jonah's old pal, Macdonald Gargan. Since last time, Gargan's been locked up at a mental hospital, and once again, he seems to have been behaving. He's even made a friend out of a guard called Frank. But when Frank mentions JJ's upcoming nuptials, Gargan stops pretending to be nice. Using Frank as a hostage, Gargan busts free of his straitjacket and suits back up into something more comfortable. And when he kills Frank just because, we learn that you should never trust the Scorpion. It's in his nature to sting. And Mac's toxic mind wants to poison as much of Jonah's life as possible, so he kidnaps his son, John, and he does his tail spring thing again. Nice. Once more, luck has it that Peter Parker is present when the police warn Jonah of the Mac attack. And Spidey knows it's once again time to play bodyguard. Oh look, it's Jean the Wolf. I love it. Scorpion makes John hang out alone in the creepy sewers as he himself starts his assault. Those arachnid powers are coming in handy now, aren't they? The Wolf's boys are no match against Mac, and Gargan hits his target dead on. But it's not JJ Scorpion's here for. He instead nabs the bride-to-be, Marla Madison. Haha, looks like Spider-Man learned his lesson last time about leaving someone unguarded. The wall crawler busts in, ready to kick Gargan's tail. Look how cool this sequence is, dude. Gargan blasts the fuse box, plunging the apartment into darkness. The only light from the deadly electromagnetic bursts from his tail as he scraps with the Spider-Man. Even with his spider sense advantage, Peter can't dodge forever. Marla's fearful warning actually harms her case when she accidentally distracts Spider-Man enough for Scorpion to sting him good. When one of Scorpion's stray blasts stings Marla's arm, she finally realizes that yeah, maybe she should leave, and she's supposed to be a scientist. Spidey grabs JJ's bride and legs it, but that big green bastard is right behind them. Spider-Man tells Marla to run while he handles the Scorpion, but as we've seen a few times now, handling Scorpion is easier said than done. Gargan blasts a chunk of the building away, so Spider-Man's got no choice but to abandon the fight to save some innocents. Giving Gargan all the time he needs to snatch up Miss Marla, but get ready for the plot twist of a lifetime. Jonah himself appears, ready to sacrifice himself for his bride. But when Gargan says it's time to pay, JJ reveals he's been paying for years for Gargan's psychiatric treatments. A fund for all the people the Scorpion has hurt. Turns out after all these years, Jonah Jameson did have a heart after all. And Scorpion wants to crush it in his own pincer-like hand. He's got John, he's got Marla, and he wants Jameson to choose which one will live and which will die. Jameson does offer himself instead, but Gargan wants to ruin his life before he ends it. And ruin it he will, because this sadistic choice was all a joke. Gargan's gonna kill everyone here anyway, or he would've. But then along came a spider. First, Spider-Man ruined Gargan's job, then he ruined his revenge, and now he's ruining his focus by spamming the banter, throwing Mac off. Mate, look at this line. Now I remember why you wore a mask. Where do you buy your ugly pills? This is classic Spider-Man, what a machine. It takes more than just superior strength to win a fight, so Spider-Man doesn't bother hitting back just yet. He lets Mac wear himself out by dodging all the Scorpion's attacks. And then, when the villain is at his weakest, Spider-Man squashes the Scorpion. And what could have been the darkest day of J. Jonah Jameson's life ends as the happiest he's ever been. Better luck next time, Scorpion. And don't you worry, there will be a next time. Before Venom was a twinkle in David Michelinie's eye, Mac Gargan was the anti-Spider-Man. Peter's reverse Flash, an enemy created to use the hero's own powers against him. But sadly, he never grew into the threat he should have been. He just repeatedly tried the same plots over and over. And don't get me wrong, it's a good idea and it really deepens the relationship between Spider-Man and Jameson. But Gargan could have been capable of so much more. The criminal underworld could have had a Spider-Man of their own. He could fully embody the idea of power without responsibility as he tears his way through New York City. Mac's never developed much as a character either, but what I'd love to see explored is his history as a private eye. I've floated this idea before, but imagine a story where Scorpion is hired to track someone down. I want to see how he'd go about it. But as it stands, Mac Gargan weirdly matches modern Marvel's version of Peter Parker in that both once had the potential to grow, but both were denied their chance and reduced to their basest forms out of the fear of change. The Scorpion could have been something very special, but no mate, he's still just a 2-bit, no-account, second-rate sewer-breath baboon with the brain of a pigeon and the face of an eel. Hey tailheads, Skull Ryan here to tell you that this video is part 1 of a trilogy all about the guy with the stainless steel stinger. Check back in next week for part 2, where we see Gargan go toe-to-tail with some of Marvel's mightiest heroes in Marvel vs. Scorpion.